out of Hungary.
Okay, but for the moment, I think we should switch to the streaming room. We've got the players setting up for the first round. For any of you keeping score at home on Jousting Pavilion itself, this is going to be the Table 3 match between Alex O'Feeforth of England against Andreas Riebeck, a very, very local boy.
Also, a previous Starlek Joust champion. So on the
last year's semi-finalist.
Who's on the left side and who's on the right side? Do you know? So, oh yeah, sorry. Thank you.
Seriously, with forearms like that, you will question who's on which side?
I'm sorry. My bad.
I mean, it's the mountain that cards on the right. This is.
You were in Warsaw as well? Yeah, I was. Yeah, you were.
He is playing against...
So we have Targaryen up against Stark.
Yep. Who's he playing?
Alex O'Feeforth. Yeah, we're just updating the streaming overlays for you, so we can have the faction catchphrases as well as the player names, just to make it easier on the stream.
Just going around doing mad things. Here though, it's so much more chill. Yeah, it's kind of nice.
Yeah, it's we're different.
Riebeck is playing Fire and Blood.
Lay back, chill, have a good time, relax.
Yeah. The stuff, here we go. So for any of you keeping score at home, from yesterday's stream, the Three-Eyed Raven is 2-1 against the Mystery Bearded Man. I think is the important stats for us to keep track of.
Yeah, it's so big.
We believe much of the power comes from the Raven's googly eyes, currently visible next to the deck itself. For any of you wondering if Alex's vision is going to be damaged by the glare off the mat itself, please rest assured that that is actually printed on the mat. Yeah. And it really shows off the kind of quality that Patriot Games have been able to put into the product for this event.
Yeah. What's the like? This is going to be my first one.
So we can see that Alex is playing with one of those national champion frames for your...
well, top four.
Top four frames, yeah, from the national championships.
Yeah, you can see the house card swimming within that frame.
Yeah, and we think that the main reason that you play these is as for ballast. I think that was your theory.
Yeah, pretty much. Like it keeps you much safer from your opponent being able to flip the table. Of course, Riebeck would not be stopped in this regard.
Riebeck has the potential to flip any table. I think even the painted table could be flipped. So with the sense of urgency that the first round sometimes brings, tensions run high.
Yeah, I think Samuel really panicked a lot of people with this idea of you have 5 minutes to finish once time is called.
I think so.
With a lot of people who naturally kind of settle in for a nice, relaxing end to the game once they know time is officially here and they can really think it through. So we can see, it'll be interesting to see how far this panic actually lasts.
Yeah. And Andreas Riebeck, as we know, is a very methodical player. He often takes a bit of time to do. He's not one of those really fast players. He contemplates all his plays for a bit, and he's methodical, so he rarely reaches time, but he does take his time. So this could be something playing in his mind, though. And we see the guys drawing up their hands here for setup.
It's cool to see so much official swag actually being displayed in the games, because we have the official house card frame, official tokens on the left-hand side, and then so far there's one sneaky Bataya house card on the right.
Yeah. And then we have some bought-in swag in the form of, I think that's Dracula tokens, coins from Andreas Riebeck.
Two cards set up.
Can we see anything from Andreas' hand? It's really hard from this angle. I tried to shift the angle, but we can't really get much of a sight of what's in his hand there. But it seems like a two-card setup. And we're waiting for time to start, I suppose. So we have a little bit of time before things really kick off here.
Yeah, but the two players have really been doing well recently. Like just browsing through the recent achievement, Alex has come fourth in the UK Nationals quite recently.
A couple of weeks back.
He was fourth at the Northampton Regionals. He was, Top half, I suppose, at the European Championships.
Yeah. 60th. That means he made it on to the second day, at least. So Andreas Rubek hasn't been doing any top results as of lately. Nordic Championships, he came in 35 and 45th in flea bottom. So he hasn't had those stellar results he used to have it in 1.0. But I think time is about to be called for starting here.
Sometimes you must destroy.
Like that.
We have the TO come in here now.
Hopefully delivering more prizes for the quizzes to come.
Yeah.
What?
All right.
Okay.
So we are just about to call time, right? Time has started. All right. So we will see what they have.
And yet they hide the cards from
They
us.
still have
Has
not
anyone
started
told the
playing.
people in the streaming
They
room
might
the time
not
has started?
know that the time has begun. We do not. We do not. So we just sent the TO
That's something that
in
should
to-
be handy.
Yeah. We just
This
sent
is the
TO
man
in
behind the
to
curtain. Please adjust your cards.
let them know that they can start playing. All right. I think they just got the call here. So that was not a two-card setup from Rubek. That was a
2 cards left in a
5.
hand setup.
Yeah. So that's a much better start from Rubek. I guess it's not a bad start with Bran and Fast Ed from Alex, but
Well, it's horrible, let's face it.
there's
You have
no
no economy.
economy, and no, that's not what you're looking for. Whereas Andreas has got some economy. He's got 2 dragons. He's got pretty much everything. He's even got standing there with Plaza.
Okay, he's trying to stabilize, play the cam, actually keep characters on the board, hopefully build up from here.
The killy one.
We can hope he drew some economy.
Perhaps. At least he's giving a lot of econ to Andreas. Andreas, a bit dairy play there, I think, because there's a lot of various schemes out there that could have.
I think Varys' scheme has really kind of stepped down a bit. There's just so many more necessary plots for people to play.
Well,
I think the first turn Varys' riddle is kind of less common.
I think that we've seen a resurgence of first turn summer plots lately, and I have been noticing a lot of people talking about starting to play Varys Riddle. I haven't actually seen people start to play Varys Riddle yet, but since Summer Harvest has become quite commonplace for first plots nowadays, I think people are thinking about it, and we might be seeing some of that this tournament actually. So we have a Frozen Solid put on the Plaza to take that out of the game for a bit, at least.
That's definitely a good call, because that card can get so obnoxious so quickly, especially if Andreas is running the flea bottom version. You get those second sons discarded to stand somebody else.
Doing
and
2 things. Yeah, it's just too much, too cheap. So there we have also some econ for Alex being played, and some draw as well.
Viserys comes down, and the healing has begun.
So yes, Rubek has just turned off the military challenge pretty much for Alex, because once Alex pulls off one military challenge, that Frozen Solid is removed from the Plaza. So Andreas also got Khal Drogo on the board now.
Because I think with wherever we're going, like Andreas put himself in a pretty decent position to march next turn.
Definitely so.
He gets rid of that pesky little kid.
Yeah.
Who's always a bit of an annoyance for Targaryen. He gets the Frozen Solid off his Plaza.
Yep. So yeah, if you're Alex, are you considering doing the military challenge just to put Viserys in the dead pile rather
Well, he passed
than the discard
on
pile?
challenges.
Oh, he passed completely. He wasn't first player. Of course he wasn't. He marshaled first. Right. All right. Sorry. So Andreas is just shumping the power challenge here. And he's made a green challenge as well before that. And
It's strange to see him actually not block the power challenge and holding back for the military, considering military has no claim to it.
No. Yeah. Well, no, of course, Rubek has claim. Why wouldn't he?
Cam.
Oh, yeah. He doesn't have a claim. He picked red, of course.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Huh. All right.
Okay, well, you still have the power stacking up on the
Yeah,
Targaryen
of
side
course,
of the board.
of course. And Eddard got, he still got the
Participation prize, yeah.
the participation right. He's still got his renown. It really doesn't matter because he didn't have any power on his house card anyway, so it didn't really matter whether or not he blocked the red or the blue one. They were all the same. There was no claiming either. So we're moving into next plot phase here, and what do we get? We get marched, obviously, but we get calling the banners here for some econ for Alex.
So initiative-wise, we have to assume Rebek will go first here,
Of
just
course.
pile up the pressure.
Yeah, and also in order to deny at least 1 gold for Alex. So there we have it. The plaza is operational again.
There's still some decent income between that and fealty.
Of course.
Like,
That's still 4 extra gold this turn.
Hopefully the intrigue will have been
fine.
relevant discarding the King's Road.
Hopefully.
Just really contain the board.
Yeah, definitely so. So Andreas collects 5 gold here, and he's got 1 reducer out. He got a dupe for Mormont. Are you playing that? What do you think?
Yeah, because the danger here is that if he overextends, he's putting Alex in a really good position to drop his Valor.
Right.
So he has to be a little bit careful not to overexpand his board.
Assuming this is the controlly version of the Stark deck that does run Valor, because not all Stark decks do run Valor.
I still think that's such a huge risk to take, just relying on the board escalating indefinitely.
Yeah, I'd say. But if you're playing the super fast deck, you kind of have lost anyway if you can't win the
Something
first 3
big.
times. All right, so here's reduction and double reduction from the. We assume double reduction from the Great Hall, and yeah, that's the core Rob. But he's got no shump out right now. He needs to put a shump on the board, right? Oh well, Summer.
It's a very relevant one.
Yeah,
Gets
it's a
Bran
very
back.
relevant, getting Bran back, and he's still got 1 coin.
Summer loves those bran flakes.
Oh yes, he does. Picking Bran up, and that's it. Keeping 1 goal. And Andreas on 2 challenges then.
So much gold back though.
Yeah, and he let's think a bit about why you keep your Mormont in hand at this point and not duping him. Because I'm thinking he's good target for the next March, and then you can play him again, obviously.
If he's playing double marched. But even
Well-
if he's playing double marched, perhaps Viserion should take a walk on the wild side.
You think?
Jor is large. Thing is, the Stark are dumping out big military bodies out there right now.
Yeah.
So in order to actually get the military challenges across, at some point, he's going to have to throw actual size behind it.
Right. But he got a red or a green challenge off right now, of course.
Well, it's easy power. It's draining the hand.
Yeah. And then this can only be the red challenge then. I guess you block this, right? Why wouldn't you?
Well, you still have the dragon standing. So the question then is, I suppose it's reasonably safe to actually block it with Rob or Eddard,
Yeah.
because they're not going to be burned to death.
No.
You still have the kind of outside play of him standing a dragon with the plaza and then double
yeah.
Dracarysing.
Of course.
But that's magical
Well,
Christmas
no,
land.
yeah. You can't. If that's going to happen, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
You
So
can't-
there we have just a Winterfell turning off all of those shenanigans.
Yeah, exactly.
And Rob quickly
blocks
claiming
it.
his power.
Yeah, and now, of course, Andreas can still push through a red challenge.
Which he should.
I guess, yeah. Get
Because if he's
Summer
running the
off.
double march,
Yeah.
that'll still be sweet.
Well, you get Summer off and off the table. Of course, Rob stands again, but yeah, I mean that's the price you have to pay, all right?
Why only 1 character swing here?
Yeah, I can't really see why this. Oh, of course. So Dragon's No Slave reduces Eddard by 2, so he's at 4 now. And then do we
That's right, the
have?
solid
Do we
gets the
have?
unopposed power across as well.
Yeah.
Okay, it's most of
No, he doesn't get the unopposed off, right?
He'll be able to get the unopposed power.
Oh yeah,
with-
yeah, the unopposed power, sure. And no, because they will stand. Both of them will stand.
Once Summer dies, yeah.
Yeah, so no unopposed, but still he will get Summer off the board, preferably in the dead pile where it can do no more tricks, and then he can march. And I'm just assuming here that he's playing double march because that's what Andreas has
It's what
been
we'd like to
doing.
see. It's what the fans would like to see.
It's what everyone really wants to see here, and it's also what Andreas is famous for providing. So no,
What happened?
I'm not sure what happened. Was that that might have been a blue challenge? That could have been the power challenge from Khal Drogo.
But why though?
Why though? Yeah, maybe he doesn't have the double march then. So he's playing Song of Summer, boosting all his characters' power by 1, and Alex wants to draw some more cards. Makes sense. His hand was fairly depleted there, so he gets something up there. Well, Alex is at 5, 6 cards now, and then regular draw, and he's at
He's loaded.
7. He's got 7 cards in hand now, I think.
That's the morning that March we didn't see.
Yep.
I mean, maybe Rebeck feels he's too far ahead because he's got that power stacking up in the house card like he doesn't want to be.
So we just got one of the out in the Swiss rooms. We just got one of the different
Achievements
claimed. The Iron Bank by Roy.
He's got his 13 gold in a single marshalling.
Yeah. So here, Andreas is just piling up. He's drawing with Littlefinger, getting some more econ, and then he's duping Khal Drogo, making that board presence good. And now he does play the dupe on Jorah Mormont. Jorah hasn't got any renown or betrayal tokens on him yet, so that makes sense, I guess. And Andreas still has a fairly healthy hand.
I guess at this point, with the power piling up, he's really looking to be in a position to win the game by the time the third power comes on Jorah.
Yeah. So, yeah, definitely. And he's just basically not expanding the board too much. Oh, Jorah Mormont's going to switch side, right? That's the only one he can take with that.
Not necessarily. He can take the Blood Rider.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he can take the Blood Rider as well.
And that Blood Rider can often be a pretty good target.
Oh, yeah. Definitely so. There are very few characters in the Targaryen dead pile, so Jorah is the one he's taking. Also, Jorah's got renown. So that speed that I'm just assuming that Alex is looking for right now with piling up on renown, that could help with that.
Well, I think on 2 power right now, he's really not pushing for renown. So I think he's just looking to stabilize the board, get big bodies on his side.
But in that case, why not take the Blood Rider?
Jorah's a bigger body.
Well, he's got 1 more strength, right?
And he also stops the intrigue challenges, which have been going unopposed across the board so far.
You're right. Of course. And Jorah would have been a 5 strength character on Rebeck's side. So, yeah, it's a good call. And he gets a draw by Gates. And we're on to challenges. First challenge should be a green one, I think, again. And this time it's blocked by Jorah. Do we have Dragon's No Slave here? Do you think? No.
Rebeck seems to have forgotten that Ward actually makes Jorah a start character.
Yeah. He's a start character.
It's interesting to see this deck. It's something that we haven't seen in quite a few months, where it seems to be the Blood Rider summer deck.
Yeah. And I think
because we just saw Ago as well as Jogo.
I think it's just Andreas returning to what he's most comfortable with. He's been trying things for a bit and has had few stellar results, and he's resorting to something he's more comfortable with, and we can see the results. He's playing this deck really well.
Well, it's quite difficult to see results from many of the Swedish players. You seem to be a very secretive bunch. There isn't really much Swedish representation outside of Sweden itself.
I think we haven't been traveling much this year. A couple of years back, there were lots of traveling from the Swedish players, but this year I think I was the only Swede at Euros. So poor representation from our meta, I think. We had 3 people go down to Fracas. Andreas was one of them. We haven't traveled much. That's. I don't think it's what we usually do. It's what we ended up doing.
But even within Sweden itself, like you've lost the Nordics to Finland last year.
Yeah, we did.
You
We
lost
did.
Nordics to Denmark this year.
Yeah, I regret to say we did.
You lost Varberg to Hungary last year.
Well, that's Tomas. You can't really blame us for losing a tournament to Tomas. Anyone can lose to Tomas. And also, you and me both, we're pretty happy about that, though. I mean, at that time, Jakob Hultman was in the final against him, and Jakob had been winning so much, and Tomas was really coming in second every time, and we really wanted him to win at that point. Now it's pretty much the reversed roles. Jakob Hultman has been second in so many tournaments this year, and I'd be so happy to see him do well this time. Now, back to this game, we do seem to have a powerful... is this a military challenge?
Surely it has to be. Like, with no power on the start card.
Yeah.
This can't be another blue.
No, I'd be very surprised if it was. And what's happening with Littlefinger? Oh, he hasn't declared the challenge yet.
So it is power?
It makes no sense. Is he going 3 characters deep into a blue challenge here? This seems... Either it's some sort of trap, but it's a weird one since he put the dragon in.
Because there's no support of the people. We don't have gold on the house cards.
No. And what would he fetch with that support? Plus of punishment, maybe?
Astapor.
Astapor,
0
of course.
gold.
Sorry. Astapor 0 gold. That would make sense, yeah. But he has no gold to put on Astapor.
That's why Astapor was 0 gold.
It's pretty crap.
Well, yes, but it would stop people giving out about Astapor being overpowered online.
Oh, yeah. And that's Rubik's secret screen. He's just trying to get the internet trolls to shut up. All right, so we have a block here as well, which is, again, makes a little... this has to be the blue one, though. So that was a red challenge and was blocked.
Successfully blocked military.
Successfully blocked. And then we have the blue challenge. And we have fealty being used. And then... Oh, this is... Is this a challenge from Alex? I do not understand.
All right, he's actually trying to block a power challenge.
All right.
So it's a 2-claim power.
Yeah. Okay.
And now we have Renown, Super Renown, and Starka leaping back into the game.
Yeah.
With us having no idea what the power totals really are. Those.
Well, it's right now the power total is 7 for Stark versus I think 5-6 for Targaryen.
You really think those aren't stacked up?
They might be.
Transparent tokens.
Yeah.
Commentator's nightmare.
Yeah, definitely so. I'm pretty sure that Alex hasn't been stacking his tokens, but Andreas usually do stack his tokens. But he couldn't be at too much more power than this because he just lost 2 power, and he couldn't have had much more than 7 power on his house card.
But it doesn't look like 9 power left behind.
Those are definitely stacked, though.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I still don't
hard to
understand
say.
his aversion to military.
Yeah, it's weird. From a Targaryen deck, you'd think you'd see a lot more military, but apparently not. No one seems to be able to kill anyone in this matchup, and we seems to be completely out of the loop of what's happening here. Maybe we should pay more attention.
How likely do you think that... all right, next achievement.
Next achievement here. All right, I'll try to keep an eye on the actual game that's being played here, see if I can maybe catch up on what they're actually doing. So we're plotting now. Andreas has 4 cards in hand, and Alex has got a healthy hand of about 6 cards, I'd say.
In
Maybe even
Targs,
7.
in this kind of summer-based Targaryen deck, do you actually run confiscation? Because a lot of people tend not to, but I think that's greedy.
I think so as well, but I think maybe Andreas isn't running confiscation. We see another march there, so I was right about that one. And I can't really make out the other plots, but the one he's got on the bottom there seems to be a march, so he seems to be favoring to do something else.
The fans are calling for Valor.
He would. Oh, that's so he seems to be playing the blood of the dragon plot, the Targaryen plot, where you burn everything 1 down, and if it hits 0, it dies. Is that the one he's playing, though? He's got that on the bottom now. You can't make out the two top ones. Can we see anything in his hand?
Yeah, it's another Song of Summer. It's Blood of the Dragon, a Counting Coppers, and Blood of the Dragon is coming down.
Could that be another Song of Summer? Because he can't be running two of two different plots, though. So that's the Stark plot where you fetch a wolf, or is it the one where you get to put another Stark character into the
That's when you
the jumpy
add in
one.
Stark characters
It's the
after the
jumpy
fact.
one, yeah. So he can, if he's got a Stark character in the challenge, he can add another Stark character to that challenge, whether or not it has the right icons.
So we actually have two decks with no Valor facing each other down.
It would seem, but also with the Rybeck's plot cards there are some question marks, because I thought for sure that I saw another march there. All right, Andreas is going fast. He gets only 3 gold. He got some reduction there. He could play up to his 6 cost character, I think, and he's got fealty, so he could play a 7 coster if you like. Is
A
this
Stark
what's coming
fealty
here?
seems to be.
That's another. And he dies immediately.
To get ward off.
Yeah. Get him back. So that's a nice play, isn't it? He gets your Mormont back. He's reducing for 2, I can only guess.
3, surely.
How?
On a 6 cost character, 3
yeah,
gold still there.
but which 6? Oh, he's got the big one.
No,
he's
it
only
is the
5,
2.
so it's he reduced for 1. For 4.
So we have
combined 2.
Stark with no intrigue again.
Right, and we've got a standy Blood Rider there, but no Summer Plot. And we've got another Frozen Solid on Plaza. We got all the Blood Rider combinations, though, because now we have 2 Blood Riders on the table, which means that Yogo just got a lot stronger.
But at the same time, his stealth is that much less relevant because
For sure.
you have the Stark plot.
For sure. For this turn. Now, it seems like Alex is building up somewhat of a presence on the board, and really, with both Eddard and Core Rob out, you don't really need that much, because this is pretty fast.
So much cheekiness, though, dropping those 1 strength characters on the Blood of the Dragon.
You're right.
Seeing the Targaryen run himself out of gold.
Yeah, yeah, and the stream might wonder, but the reason he can have 1 strength characters is because he's got Winterfell out, obviously boosting all his characters by 1.
So it seems even Alex himself is sensing that there is no Valor in the Targaryen deck at this point.
It would seem. And also, like, both of these decks are the 2 houses that sometimes don't run Valor. And he gets a draw from Gates. That's Core Sansa. And I think Alex is first player, so we might see
Well, no, because
Andreas is the first player. So we might see. There's no reason for him to hold back, but he wants to push the blue through now. Now it's relevant, right?
I still think you have to get some of those bodies on the board off the board, because if it builds up too much, he gets that much more value on Winterfell for every body that comes down.
Right. Sure, but
it's a bit strange. Like perhaps
that's a nice pull.
he has fallen slightly behind the military pressure, having opted not to put it on earlier in the game.
Yeah. And with the Hodor out, it's hard to push military through.
Especially once they all stand off Rob himself.
I think he's going to shump. Well, it's not actually shumping when it's a 4 strength character, but I think he's going to play 2 small red challenges just to be able to maybe push off the red one. Sorry, the blue one. That's how I'd play in this situation, but I'm not sure if Alex is going to have any of that.
Yeah, he doesn't have Summer this turn.
No.
So Ago isn't active.
He's not active. And Plaza is taken off again with another Frozen Solid. So it's tricky. And few of his tricks will actually work that well. He has no gold. He's already used fealty, so there's no Dracarys coming. Yeah. Andreas is also a bit. This is this is a tricky board state.
His plan seems to have stumbled a small bit, but it's a tricky
Yeah.
board state that is self-inflicted.
Yeah, very
Because the
much so.
players are putting
Very much
themselves
so.
into this no valor world
Yeah.
that the internet complains so much about.
And yeah, but also Andreas could have kept this board so much smaller by being more aggressive, and he has opted not to. He's opted to try to get a strong and fast accumulation of power, and I can see that.
But even
against
that
what-
has been somewhat half-hearted.
yeah,
So mostly he's been keeping Stark from getting power rather than
Right,
piling on
right.
his own.
right. Yeah, this is the situations you will find yourself in this spots.
Is it some rust showing up from the Swede with?
I don't think so, because he's been active. Andreas has been very active, and I don't think Andreas really misplaying things here. He's just not going by the tactic or anything that we're used to. I think he's got something here. He's just made it trickier. He's still one of the best players of Thrones that I know of, and watching Andreas play is always educational, because he finds angles and he sees things that I myself are nowhere near being able to spot. So I used to assume that it'll take a bit longer time at this point, because it's a trickier board state. So we have
I'm not necessarily sure he is going to get that much time though, because Stark are going to be leaping across for power,
they are fast at
and
this point.
Rob and Daddy
Yeah.
Dearest can really stack it up.
Right, yeah. So Andreas made a red challenge with Ago here for 3, and it seems to have been blocked by Hodor. And I don't know why Alex thinks it's important to block the red one with Hodor. I'd probably keep Hodor for the blue challenge, but yeah. And this has to be another red then for 3 again. And it could be blocked, I suppose, but that would seem weird. No, he's... all right, so he's nightmaring Yora, and he's not blocking it completely. He's just opposing it for 3, claiming Summer.
4.
3. It's the blood plot as
Oh,
well. Yeah, so 3 against 3, and he's claiming Summer, standing everything. And that's the reason he's not claiming the reducer is obviously that he wants more blue strength rather than the red strength, because it's more relevant at this point.
It's still a bit strange though, spending the nightmares for a single power.
Yeah. I can only assume that Alex thinks this is going to go down to the wire. He's respecting Andreas Riebeck's ability to stick in this game, even though it seems that Alex might have a very great position at this point.
But even as a whole investment, if it's going to go another couple of turns,
Mm-hmm.
perhaps having the choice to turn off Drogo
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
potentially looking at multiple renown stacking down,
Yeah, yeah.
if he's just exchanging a gold for a power.
Yeah. It's it seems it seems weird, but Alex has won the nationals. I haven't, so I'm just assuming he knows what he's doing. And again, you have to respect Andreas Riebeck. He's such a good player that if you're constantly losing greens anyway, keeping a card that might do some good later on, or using it now where you know it's going to do at least some good, it makes sense.
Yeah. So far, he's been able to stay on target with the green losses because the gates have been keeping his hand refilled.
Yeah, he's been a bit lucky with that. Of course, it's a fealty deck, so a huge portion of the deck will be star cards, but there are still neutral cards in that deck, as we well have seen. Now, this has to be the blue challenge then, so he's making a blue challenge for 4 to 6, and he's stealthing, I guess. I don't
Eddard?
know. Yeah, I suppose. It really doesn't matter. One of the 2 big ones. Or maybe he's stealthing a small one. He could be stealthing Hodor. I'd probably stealth Hodor when I think about it, because Hodor can't attack anyway.
He can. Bran is in play.
Oh, he can. Bran is in play. Right. So, yeah. then it's much harder. I don't know who he stealthed. Did he point to something? Did you see? Did the chat maybe see?
I haven't seen it yet.
No. So Alex is thinking about the block here, and he's blocking with... Oh, he's stealthed. He seems to have stealth.
Rob,
Rob,
probably?
yeah, I suppose Rob. So we have a 6, 7, 8 block. And that is obviously because he... Why would he block with 8?
Because it still leaves enough back for him to win both military and power.
Yeah, but he could take dominance as well. Well, he will, because he's got coins on there. I don't see why he would put one extra board in there. Maybe
well,
because
he's getting ready for Brand to go away to stop an event at some point.
All right, right. So now we got attacks from Alex, and it's got to have to be a blue and a red, right? And he's going to win both of them. So Rob is going to make a blue challenge here, I suppose.
Yeah, we have Sandy Barnabas here with us, who seems to have finished his match early. Any news from the front lines?
I won. I ended up winning Targ mirror match.
All right. Good luck to you.
Fantastic. So you're going for another King of Swiss?
A little early to tell. Depends on how many beers I have between now and then.
Okay. As you well know, here at First Player, we have a broad range of some incredibly delicious coffee available, as well as other drinks.
Samuel Linde is one of the foremost, I'd say, coffee aficionados in the country, and he's always providing the best Java that you can find. So we're moving on to the next round, and
I think he skipped military and just took the dominance.
Because Andreas blocked the blue one, and then he took dominance, and that puts Stark right now at 11 power, which is, this could be the last round then.
It's within range. It's very strange. I'm wondering if you saw decks like this on your travel, which is a summer-themed Targaryen deck.
And that was the second Song of Summer, so clearly that was not a March that I saw.
I haven't seen these, and it seems like usually the Targ decks I see are either fealty or reigns, and they don't run Summer Plus. They run the very normal plot. So this is
this is a fealty with Summer Plots, which seems kind of strange.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not sure about this build that Andreas had come up with. He's drawing into a nightmare, which will be instrumental at this board state. Being able to blank Eddard will probably put Alex out of range from victory this turn.
Is that a Winterfell? I maybe like the Winterfell if I were playing this. Because the strength boost from Winterfell, since you have strong with Summer, he can actually defend challenges.
Yep.
It's still tough for him because his power icons aren't all that formidable.
No.
So a lot of his characters are stacking up on intrigue and military, and Stark finally got an intrigue icon in there to stop hemorrhaging cards himself.
We've got, obviously Alex is going for the win this turn because he played Clash of sorry, my mind's slipping. Clash of Kings, thank you. So he's trying to go for the win this turn. Andreas, just keep putting dupes out there, sort of consolidating this board, but something big is coming down here, I suppose. And
how big could it possibly be to still be relevant?
Yeah, that's...
because Belwas himself would be pretty sweet if there was a Valor coming.
If there was a Valor, but
with neither deck running it...
We're pretty sure there's not.
Neither deck runs a Valor.
No, it was surprising.
From what we can tell.
Because this would, a Valor would end Valor's day.
But a Valor would have ended his day 2 plots ago.
Yeah, it would have. So I think Andreas is is a bit sad about that. So here's the big power challenge, and in Alex's mind, this is obviously for all the Marbas, but Andreas has got that that Nightmare's in hand, so Andreas will be blanking. Yeah, Bran is going
And
to be
Caitlin in the power
problematic.
challenge, so nothing is going to be happening.
Oh, right. So this is game then. He didn't play the Nightmares before the challenge?
I mean, he could have knelt Winterfell as well, just
Yeah.
3 tiers of no.
Yeah, I don't get... But, well, no, he couldn't have knelt Winterfell because then he couldn't trigger edit.
He doesn't even need to do that.
1, 2, 3,
Clash of
4.
Kings?
Yeah, you're right. He doesn't even need that. He doesn't even read that. Well, he can't trigger Clash of Kings either with
Oh, yeah.
if he kneels Winterfell. So
Very well.
he
We will
couldn't
allow
kneel
it.
Winterfell. So that's game then. Well played from Alex, I suppose.
He stayed patient?
He stayed patient. He managed to get back from what seemed like a bad start. Well, I mean, obviously that was a bad start. He got no econ out almost all game, really, until he found that Great Hall.
I'm still very surprised he didn't mulligan his starting hand, considering he started off with no economy and
Yeah.
just Eddard Bran.
I think maybe seeing Eddard that early, he knows he's going to have to be fast this game, and having Eddard in hand might have been just what he thought he needs.
It's hard to overstate how fast a start deck can be if you
Yeah.
have Eddard and Ron.
Yeah.
That just,
Yeah,
you get so much power so quickly.
yeah. And
But I think in that, like, it was taking a gamble on essentially the no Valor game.
Yeah. No, well, I'd say if you're thinking that you have Valor coming up, you'd rather play Eddard early and hope to draw into that dupe, though. Or I can only assume, because it seemed quite controlly, this version of the deck.
I think you need economy to survive.
But
it.
I suppose he's got bodyguards in that deck.
But let's see if we can actually get Alex in here.
Yeah, it would be interesting to hear.
To do a winner interview.
All right, so.
Enjoy, Sandy. Thanks.
Thank you for stopping by, Sandy.
It works really well when your opponent
Okay, we've also had the tournament organizers pop in here with some more prizes for the quizzes that'll be coming up over the course of the
Can
day.
you show them to the camera, then, maybe. So we've got some nice kiss. Oh, these are
Betrayal
the
tokens?
Betrayal tokens. We got nice ear tokens coming up. We've got I don't know what this is.
This is Amsterdam poison tokens.
Oh, Amsterdam poison tokens. All right. So these are for the Bone Way. Do you call them
Vengeance tokens.
Vengeance tokens. I don't know what they're supposed to look like. It's knives, right?
Knives.
They're knives. All right. Some more ear tokens, and then
The
finally-
immensely timely.
yeah, and then bell tokens. They're really sweet. I'd love me some bell tokens. Not that that card actually is going to be very relevant, at least in this meta, but still, they're really sweet looking. All right. So, what do you think? We're on now. We're going. The tournament is all.
Yeah, we
full
got more
swing.
people joining us.
This
Our
is-
viewership jumped to 24 people there, so
Really?
this is nice to see the world waking up.
Yeah.
Of course, we're kind of putting them at a bit of a disadvantage, commentating here from the future.
Yeah, of course. So we are, this year, we're situated not in the main room where everyone else is playing as last year, but we have this little booth of our own here.
Yeah, commentating
So-
fish tank, I believe is the
Yeah.
technical term.
Yeah, I think so. And that's mainly because we don't want the actual players at the main table hearing our commentary as they are playing.
Yeah.
Because that seems to be a bad thing.
We'll see now what happens, because we got players in the chat asking us if the UK meta is the best meta. We can see now broadly what way they're going about it. Specifically, what we do know is that the English meta is obviously dying, considering the UK nationals had Norwegian play against the Welshman in the final.
Yeah. So the English part of the English meta is, but the UK meta as a whole seems fairly strong, though.
Yeah, we'll see what kind of results they're able to deliver here today.
Yeah. We have no less than 3 people here from the UK Irish Islands meta.
Yeah, we have the white people.
Right.
We have Alex. I believe there's at least one more. Of course, then we also have kind of the UK adjacent players. We've got Tomas, who is planning to move to the UK in January because
Tomas has been planning to move to everywhere pretty much for the last year or so. So we'll see about that.
yeah. And we also have Even here, fresh off his UK Nationals victory.
I guess, a current national of Scotland, I think, but he's also Norwegian of heritage. So a bit of Scandinavian blood in him. So we've got 10 minutes to go for this round. We're hoping to get Alex in here for a quick
he's just going through the official steps of
reporting his game.
Yeah, kissing hands and shaking babies and handing in result cards. But here he comes into our studio.
All right.
Fresh off his win. So please welcome Alex O'Feeworth, who's going to take us through his bold strategy.
My bold strategy is not getting happen.
Hello.
So tell us about choosing not to mulligan that starting hand.
Okay, so I lacked econ initially in that I had King's Road in my hand, but I found that with my deck at least I can, because I'm not playing Rose Roads, as long as I find econ early enough in the form of either a Great Hall or a Hearttree Grove or a King's Road, I can be quite explosive and keep moving forward, so not having econ isn't as much of a concern in my deck. The other thing is I knew that I had Winterfell in my hand, and that was going to be key in that matchup, in that I absolutely wanted to see that and make sure that I could at least prevent some of his Targ shenanigans, because I think that's the key that allows Stark to win that matchup, because Targ is so reliant on burn at the moment, etc. I can normally go head-to-head in the military challenges and come out all right, so finding that Winterfell was absolutely crucial. I didn't want to mulligan it. And Eddard is a great character who you want to see, and Bran's also crucial in the matchup, so I felt I had enough options, despite it was comparatively a weak opening hand in the form of not having much econ and things like that.
Yeah, but I suppose if you're aiming for the speed, like Eddard is going to give you that, and you've got Bran to keep you safe from, as you say, shenanigans.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was a poor setup in terms of I only had 2 characters, but I knew that if he opened up March, I would be okay, because I had cards in hand, like I had Summer, and I normally open Calm over Westeros, and it seemed to be the perfect choice in that scenario, because he didn't have Dany, he played out Drogo, and I managed to neutralise those 2 military challenges. I think if I hadn't been able to open Calm, I didn't have that in my plot deck, I probably would have lost that game turn 1, to be honest, from the military pressure.
Yeah, but no, it's definitely a good choice, and it's kind of more of the Stark shutdown, which is always a deck that's nice to see, and it's one that's really underplayed. Like, in terms of your own choice of playing a deck like that, why did you choose that for today's meta?
The main reason why I picked it is because I did well at Nationals with it, and I think Stark are in a good place because of Flea Bottom, and they have some of the best answers to that in the game. I think that resets have become a bit less abundant than they were, so you're less concerned about Varys now than you used to be a couple of weeks ago. So Stark seem to be in a better place than they were a couple of weeks ago when Varys was everywhere. Resets were commonplace, so I think they're quite well suited for the new meta.
No, it's definitely proving a good choice so far. We had a question from the chat looking for us to confirm as to whether the UK meta is the best meta right now.
I think it's one of the best, specifically London, cross keys.
So we heard.
Yeah, it's a good meta. I don't know if it's one of the best right now. I mean, I'm really looking forward to being here in Sweden. I've heard there's amazing players, names that you hear all over the place. I mean, I've already got to play one of the greats, Andreas Rybeck, who I'd never met before. I've heard a lot about him. Really friendly player, really nice guy. So I don't know if it's the best meta, but it's certainly one of the best, one of the friendliest. But every meta's got its great players, and every meta's got its great personalities. So.
Excellent, and it's good to see people travel this way, because you get to experience some of the more secretive metas, because as we were discussing earlier, the Swedes don't really seem to make it out of here quite a lot.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it's been a really good year for travelling, at least for the UK meta. I mean, we've got myself here, we've got Rebecca Gillard, we've got Richard Walker, who've travelled over. But I think it's really good because, as you say, we don't tend to see the Swedes travel so much. So it seems like if you want to crack the secret meta that is the Swedes, you need to come play them on their home turf. So it makes it a kind of challenge and almost like an invitational in a sense. Like Morghulis, it's got this reputation of being one of the toughest competitions around. It's got one of the best players, and you'll see players that you won't see other than at Starlek or Worlds if you're fortunate enough to go there. So.
And I suppose that is a great value as well. You're able to get from these travels is heading into Worlds. Once you're going to a place like Sweden, you can see if there's any secret decks emerging.
Yeah, absolutely, and it definitely seems like the Swedes in the past have been ahead of the curve in coming up with some of the more imaginative decks. One of the people who's staying with us here, Simon Majerup Hansen from Denmark, he was definitely singing the praises of the Swedes and some of the innovative decks that they come up with. So I think, if nothing else, it's nice to. I think this meta is going to be around for a while. I don't think the last pack was too impactful. I think the Tyrell box will have a big impact, but I think some of the trends that we're seeing in terms of the lack of resets and things like that will stick around.
Yeah.
So coming and travelling more, seeing some of the innovative decks here in Sweden, I think will be a good prep for Starlek and some of the other tournaments that are coming up down the line.
So yeah, we were talking about the lack of Swedes on the international scene as of the last 2 years or so, and I think, like you say, we have had a history of a lot of great deck builders in here, and just they haven't been very much enticed by the early meta of 2.0 because of the lack of options, and now we're seeing them come back. We have a completely revigorated Jakob Hultman here tonight, and it's going to be really interesting to see what his deck can do, because he's been working tirelessly on that deck. So I think it's really interesting that we've got so many international players like yourself coming in here to actually see what the Swedish meta, where we stand really now, because I'm not sure. We might have been ahead of the curve, but I think that the absence for the last 2 years might have put us not in that spot anymore.
I suppose it's what you're saying is correct, though. In a sense, it's a blessing and a curse for the Swedes. And you come over here, and it has this reputation of being a really creative meta. But if you're not travelling, then in a sense, the other metas around the world are just as secretive and just as kind of developing. I don't know if we've reached the stage in the game yet where you've got different deck styles across the nations. I've been paying enough attention to the statistics, but it definitely seems like in the UK and America at least, there's definitely been a prevalence of Greyjoy Reigns, and then in America it's been Lannister, etc. So it does seem that even if we're not there yet, we are starting to get different metas favouring different styles of decks in different houses, where one tends to be prevalent and predominant. So,
but that has been active for most of the year. Like if you followed a lot of the Italian results, the Tyrell crossing decks and Tyrell Reigns started there and have continued to blossom in Italy, whereas in a lot of the other places they're quite underplayed.
Yeah. Now I think this is contrary, like this is an actual experience from looking at what's happening, and it's very contrary to the debate that you find online where people are talking about the net decking impact and how everyone's basically playing the same decks. But the actual experience of traveling might not be very much according to that, right?
No, yeah, absolutely. I think that's a fair point.
Yeah. Right. So, do we have any more results from any of the top players that we...
Let's have a look what we have on Jousting Pavilion, see if the matches are actually being updated.
I don't think Jousting Pavilion will be able to give us that yet, will it?
So we have a bunch of the winning players.
All right.
So from the people you would expect, Jakob Hultman, who's currently playing Greyjoy Reigns, has taken his first match.
Also Jakob Wolleman, who came in second at Nordics. Basically, Hultman and Wolleman built that deck that they're playing, so it's more or less the same deck.
Yeah.
Per Engström, also a prolific Swedish player, at seventh place right now. I don't think...
You have Even taking his match. You have Tamas taking the first round match. You have Mr. Rebecca has won his match. Simon from Denmark has won his match.
Simon is up there, yeah.
Ms. Rebecca herself has taken the first round.
And Andreas is on actually winning here, which is interesting to see the old champ actually doing well.
It's more Stark fealties as coming out. So, other than yourself, who is your favourite to take down this tournament today?
Off the top of my head, I think Tamas is in a really good place. He's playing a deck that he knows. He's got the advantage in the sense of he makes little tweaks that upset people that they're not expecting, little cards that they're not expecting out of Night's Watch that gives him a bit of an advantage. I think Jakob he's got a reputation, so I think he's definitely a favourite to do well. I think Evan is also likely to do well, coming hot off of Nationals. So I think it's really anyone's game, to be honest, today.
Yeah, there's rumours that Jakob's deck is actually quite different from the UK style Isian Greyjoy Reigns.
It definitely is. I've played both of them, and I've played against it a lot, and they're very different in some ways. Well, if you look at the deck list, it might not seem so significant, but they play differently. This is a very oppressive deck.
Okay.
All right.
Well, we have 1 minute left on the round, so we'll let Alex get back to getting set up for the next one.
Thank you very much, guys. Pleasure.
Thanks for joining us.
By. All right, so we should prepare for the next round.
Okay.
Do we have...
Definitely great to see a player that clued into the tournament scene actually stepping in.
Yeah,
And gives a real perspective from the travelling contingent.
Yeah, for sure. And it seems to me that little was actually left to chance. Alex was well prepared to handle what he was being up against there.
Yeah.
Obviously, fingers crossed there was no Valar. And in Targaryen deck, you never know.
Yeah.
It could be, it might not be.
I think for the moment we'll take 5 and just go see if we can scout anything exciting happening for the next round. And
sure.
we will rejoin you very shortly.